What's going on, guys? Renegade here. And yeah, my garage is a mess again. I got my R6 over there and its engine that I'm working on. That's a long story. Out here, I've got my XJ600, which I'm also working on. It's a mess. A lot of projects, a lot of things going on. But today, I'm gonna work on the 240. See, I love my Volvo. It has been with me since I started driving. I've done a lot of work to it, and it's really a point of pride. However, it is an older car. So sometimes issues come up that need to be fixed. And then even more so, sometimes parts are hard to find or are difficult to find at a cheap price. That is what is leading me to doing this project. Now, this project to you guys might be a great upgrade. To me, I said I was never going to do this. But prices of parts being what they are, it has to be done. So, what I have here is for weeks I've been collecting parts out of my own stock. Because, yeah, disclaimer, I'm lucky enough that I have so many parts. I mean, I have enough parts to basically make 2 more Volvo 240s. So, basically, if you're going to follow this along and you're going to use it as a how-to video, you might have to make some of this or source some of this, whereas I was lucky enough to just have it lying around, because that's the type of weirdo I am. Anywho, for the last week, 2 weeks or so, I've been searching for parts in my stock and amassing it here in this tote, ready to do this project. So today, we're going to take my Volvo 240, or Volvo 245, depending on how technical you want to get, DL, and basically we're going to do an upgrade that's going to remove it from being considered a DL. Let's get started, shall we? All right, folks, so in this tote, I have, believe it or not, all the power window regulators and the wiring and the switches, the whole 9 yards basically, to convert my car to power windows. Like I said, I'm very lucky that I have all these parts just lying about. I know not everybody does. Now, what really led to all this is the fact that I had an issue with my driver door window regulator. The actual old school crank up window regulator. It bit the dust. What can I say? It's 35 years old, you know, and it just finally had enough. Well, I don't have another manual crank window regulator anywhere, which is unfortunate because I really like having manual crank windows. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I always have my concerns about power windows. At the same time, I'm getting a little older. Maybe it's time I mature a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not getting too mature. I'm not coming up to modern age and modern technology too much. I'm still gonna have my 35-year-old car as my daily driver, because, you know, I'm weird like that. So, all the parts I need for this. And here's the cool thing. You guys are going to get to witness with me, if you don't already know, just how smart or lazy, depending on how you want to look at it, the Volvo engineers were back in the day. See, because my car was built with manual windows. So you would think it'd be not normal to switch to power windows, and it would be very involved. The truth is, it's not. Not even a little bit. All the holes and everything are already there. I just need to run the wires, which are all right here, and it's all very simple. The only thing I really need in this are the window regulator motors themselves. So we've got the motor right here, and then this all is the window regulator the motor itself actually bolts on to the regulator. But this regulator is different than manual ones. Manual ones don't have the crank. Slightly different configuration, so it's different bolt holes that you use. But like I said, they're already there in my car, all the bolt holes. And I needed a different armrest because the different armrests have space for things like the switches, which I also have. So this is gonna be an interesting project. I have the armrests. I actually had to paint them. They were a different color. So they're in the back drying. Yeah. So now the next step I guess we gotta do is we gotta get the old window regulator out and start getting the new ones in. In these cars, the manual window regulator is held in by these 4 bolts and 3 clips like this guy here. There's one here mounting it to the door and 2 that actually mount it to the window itself. Now, with this guy, unfortunately, I have to solder some wires because when this was taken out of a previous car, the wires just got clipped. But not that hard of a deal. Now, you saw the 4 bolts I took out were right here. Well, when I go to put this back in, I'm only going to need a couple of these bolt holes, but the other bolt holes for these bolts down here are right down here. So Volvo essentially made one door frame and then just put in the components that they needed into each door. So rather than having multiple doors and needing to figure out, well, this car is designated as a GL, it's going to have power windows, so it needs this one, and this one's going to be a DL, it's manual windows, this one needs this one. They just had one and included all the bits. Makes life so easy. What I like to do once I get it actually in is to put the snaps in so at least it holds it somewhat in place for you. And then you can start putting in things like the bolts. Again, just so you can kind of get it to stay in place. Now with the regulators in, we get to focus on wiring them in. So, a little more fun, because all the wiring normally goes right through this. So that makes things difficult, because it's not very big, and it's tucked back. Obviously this is a job that's far easier to do when the car is new. But don't worry, we'll get it. So now with the wires run from my door into the actual cabin of the car, all you actually have to do now, besides obviously hook up this fancy relay, and obviously if you don't already have all this stuff, or if you're trying to figure it all out, your Haynes manual, which I always suggest having, has a full wiring diagram for this. Now you just have to attach the power wires. In this case, these two wires, yellow goes to fuse number 12, brown goes to fuse number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip that on. And in my case, I have a stock connector, so you see it actually has not only the female, but the male end. It's actually because there's another wire on 12 that needs to be connected to that splitter. Now, as long as I hooked this up correctly, which I'm pretty sure I did, when I hit this switch with the accessories on, ooh yeah, fancy. Now that I know that works, just gotta find a place for my relay and the grounding pigtail, and start running the rest of the wire. Which I think should be fairly easy. And then we're gonna put this door panel back on and start finishing everything up. All right, geez, that is bright. Obviously guys, I've lost my light. Frankly, this was a lot of work. It's a little better. This has been a lot of work, and now it's gotten very late, and I'm still working. Unfortunately, because of the project and what all was required, I mean, swapping out the regulators, you saw me do it, it wasn't that difficult, but running the wires through the little rubber boots from door into cabin, that was more difficult. And then actually running the wires from the fuse box all the way down and around and through the car, that again was a little more difficult. I had to take the glove box out. I actually had to take out both seats. Now obviously, the way that I did this was the way that the Volvo, like the stock way of doing it for the Volvo 240. And if you don't want to do it that way, you don't have to do it that way. But because I already had all the parts, I just ran it the way that they would have done it. Which is to say, I went from the fuse box up over, one leg of it went across the dashboard behind the glove box to the passenger door, and then the other leg went down the driver's side door sill to the passenger door, across the car between the front seats and the back footwells to the rear passenger door. So you obviously don't have to run it that way, but because I already had the wiring already set at the stock lengths, I figured I might as well just do it that way. And obviously the relay I put roughly where it would normally be in the center console. So everything is hooked up. I did run all 4 already. They're all hooked up. They're all ready to rock and roll. Only thing I got to do left is to put my door card back on. As I was saying before, I made custom door card skins to go with my interior color design. And these door cards themselves don't have the hole for the wires for the switches to come through, because the switches are actually on the armrests. That's why I had to switch over the armrests. All it is though is a hole. So I just have to cut a hole right about here, actually, for the wires to come through. Once I do that, they'll have a place to go through. I can just wire everything up, put that on, and then we'll be done. Well, man, I guess I gotta put my seats back on, back in, whatever. Then I'll be done. Man, that is so weird. I'm so used to seeing the cranks here and reaching for them when I go to roll down my window. It's gonna take some getting used to. Obviously this hole is from the old window crank. I'm gonna fix that up later on. Weird. Single button press. Like I said, this was not something I ever planned on doing, and yet here I am. Electric windows. Brand new world, right? Well guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please remember to hit like, leave a comment down below if you got any questions or comments for me. And if you're not already, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. It does help these videos, and it helps the channel dramatically. It's good to be back in, you know, automotive shape like this. So, here's hoping to get more done real soon. Until next time, guys, y'all keep rocking and rolling. I'm gonna keep taking care of business. See you in the next one.